Hello and welcome to Motorboats Monthly's practical section, brought to you by Garmin. Today we're going to be looking at changing your impeller. Now this is important for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's an annual service item, and if you can do it yourself you're going to save yourself a few quid on the service bill. But most importantly, it's probably one of the top 5 most common breakdowns out at sea. A lack of cooling water will mean your impeller will get damaged. Once the impeller is damaged, the engine will overheat and that engine will no longer be able to be used until you've changed it. Right, the first thing you need to do is to locate your water pump. Normally on the front of the engine, this one is located here. Nearly always they've got a round plate on with numerous screws. That's kind of how you identify it, with obviously the cooling water pipe work coming in and out of it. Just to be aware, on some engines it's not facing forward like this, it's sometimes behind here facing backwards. So if you can't see it obviously on the front of the engine, just have a look down the side, at the front, but down the back, and see if you can see it down there. Right, the tools you need for this job are pretty straightforward. You just need a spanner to remove the small bolts on the pump cover. The bolts are quite small and fiddly, so it's important not to lose them, so find somewhere safe to put them while you're working on the pump. Then you need a method of getting the impeller out of the case. If the impeller has been damaged, what you might find is all you've got left is the central hub with all these different vanes that actually have broken off. Now if that's the case, you can probably just get your hand on it and pull it out. If it is damaged, these vanes that have broken off, you need to find those because they will cause blockages further on in the system. Now on this boat, any vanes that have gone forward are going to go up here straight into the strainer, and they'll be in the strainer. On some boats they go into the heat exchanger, and that can cause blockages. One thing to be aware of, occasionally one piece of these vanes can actually drop back down, and the problem with that is you put a new impeller in, put the cover on, you fire the engine up, it comes sucked back into the impeller and immediately damages the new impeller. If it's intact like this one, it's not going to come out very easy. You're going to need to use some tools on that. Some people use the 2 screwdriver method. Put them down the sides of the impeller opposite each other like that, not too far, and then just gently prise the impeller out. Now what you've got to be careful of is that you don't actually damage the pump body here and here by putting too much pressure on like that. But a good investment, if you're going to do this regularly, is a dedicated impeller removing tool like this. About £40–50, but they do make the job much simpler and are less prone to cause any damage to the pump body. So we're just going to tighten up the thumb screws to clamp down onto the impeller, and then we're going to screw in this central shaft which will pull out the impeller. Right, now if you're changing this as a service item rather than because it's damaged, pull the vanes apart and you're looking for any kind of degradation down the edges of these vanes, anywhere that it might be starting to split, any early signs of failure. If you see any of those signs, even slight splits, best thing to do, throw it away, maybe keep it as a spare but put a new one back in the pump. The new one should come with the bits that you need, specifically a new gasket. Now some of these pump covers do have a paper gasket on them. The one that we've got here has actually got a rubber O-ring. If it's got an O-ring, you obviously need to check the condition of that and to make sure that that is still serviceable. Often you will find a new O-ring in the box as well. This one doesn't have one. They usually also come with a little tube of special lubricant. Now this we put on the vanes of the impeller to help slide it in, and also to offer some lubrication to the impeller before the water comes through. We're just going to push this one straight back into the housing. It's a reasonably small impeller and it's quite supple. If you've got a bigger impeller and it's a bit stiffer, then sometimes it's quite difficult to push and get these vanes collapsed at the same time. So a good tip is to get a big cable tie and clamp it around the vanes, collapse the vanes. That means that you can then push it in, and as you push it the cable tie will come off and it will make it a lot easier to get in the pump. Now the impeller's back in the housing, we're just going to put a little bit of lubrication on the end of the pump that's going to meet the pump cover, and we'll push that back on there. Right, so they're all up finger tight now, so I'm just going to nip them up with a spanner, but I'm going to do the ones that are diametrically opposed just to save distorting the plate. All we really need to do now is to fire up the engine, make sure we've got no leaks from around the pump. If you are able to check that your cooling water's flowing through either a telltale or through the exhaust, then obviously that's a good thing to do as well. Well, I hope you found that useful. Thanks for watching.